Comprehensive update on the Mounjaro shortage, the Zepbound shortage, and the WEGOVY shortage. Hi, beautiful friends. On this episode, we're going to deep dive into shortage updates and some latest cutting information that I just learned that I wanted to share with you. I'm Elizabeth. I'm the Countess of Shopping. Been on GLP-1 medication, Mounjaro and Zepbound and Tirzepatide for the last 21 months. Losing over 93 pounds. I'm not a medical specialist at all or medical healthcare provider. Always talk to your own healthcare provider, but I have lost a whopping 93 pounds. And I'm on the run to lose about 120-ish pounds. And on today's episode, I want to deep dive into a fantastic article that just came out in the Washington Post yesterday, September 24th, 2024. I will cite my source down below. This article, if you do have a Washington Post subscription, I highly recommend getting one because the comprehensive reporting of this, and I'm gonna quote the author. This article is fantastic. I learned things, and I talk about GLP-1 medication every day. I learned things that I had not even heard about or thought about that maybe you haven't heard about or thought about as part of the shortage and how we're going to get through the shortage to get access to our medications. Now, one of the cool parts of this article, it's called, and again, I'll link it down below, weight loss drugs are supposed to be for forever until they run out. This is written by Ariana Eugen Cha. Excellent writing on her part. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And one of the biggest things that I found in this article that I wanted to share with you, you're going to want to stay till the end because I've got some mind-blowing information about yesterday's Senate hearing that we're going to talk about. So stay till the end for that, and I'll share with you my outfit if you guys are interested in it too. Some of you guys had asked about my clothes, but this is the most fascinating part. Some of the pieces. Novo Nordisk, who is the manufacturer of Wegovy and Ozempic, the manufacturer of Zepbound and Mounjaro is Eli Lilly. Novo Nordisk said total weekly prescriptions for Wegovy have more than doubled since January. We're in September as I'm filming this, so that's in 9 months. It's doubled. And that will continue to manage shipments of the lowest starting dose to focus in on ensuring sufficient supplies for patients already on the medication. Novo Nordisk rep says, we have made significant progress for improving Wegovy supply while maintaining clear focus on patients who require the care of medicine. Okay, this is the important part. Eli Lilly cautioned, and that's who's the manufacturer of Zepbound and Mounjaro, that while availability is sufficient nationally for its drugs, the supply chain is complex, especially for refrigerated medicines. And there may be many reasons for a particular pharmacy does not have a particular dose of medicine in stock. We've talked about this before, about how this is a refrigerated medication. For travel, I always recommend, there are certain travel ones. I'll link that down below on my Amazon shopping list. For traveling, how do you travel with a refrigerated medication? But I haven't really done a deep dive thinking about how do you transport these and making sure, over the last 21 months, when I get my prescription, it's got to come out of the refrigerator when I get it. And same thing for you. When you take your prescription home, you immediately put it in your refrigerator. Be mindful, friends, by the way, do not put it in the back of your refrigerator because that has a colder temperature and can freeze the pens. If the pens freeze, you cannot use, from Eli Lilly, the pens. They tell us in the literature we cannot use our Mounjaro or Zepbound if the pens are frozen. So be super mindful as we're ending into freezing temperatures and going into fall and winter with cold temperatures about the freezing standpoint of it. So that was one that I thought was fascinating. I'm like, that does make a lot of sense. And I don't know why I haven't thought, I'm a businesswoman. I've owned multiple multi-million-dollar businesses that I've started from scratch. And I'm well versed with operation protocol. And I don't know why I hadn't thought about it more, about why that would continuously plague the refrigerated medications with them. It's not like it's a pill that can just get shipped, right? Like that would be easy, which is why the cutting edge reporting that I had talked about previously with the new upcoming GLP-1 medications, you're going to want to check that out next in the next video. But the American Pharmacist Association, which represents 45,000 pharmacists, said increased production has yet to make much of a difference in availability for consumers. So they're increasing, they're meaning Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk are increasing production, but the American Pharmacist Association, with 45,000 pharmacists, the people who are giving us our medications here in the US, said Bridget Groves, the vice president for professional affairs for American Pharmacist Association, said members still grapple with huge backlogs and shortages. Yes. As a consumer and a patient, yes. So they're saying the American Pharmacist Association says we are hopeful at some point supply will be replenished, but right now it's hit or miss as for what patients can get on a regular basis. And so this I found so fascinating about the refrigeration part and about how we continue as patients to manage this, which was the whole essence of this article about how we start these medications. And let me use my I statements. I started this medication when I started. I said to my husband, and my husband and I had made a whole thing. I'm not starting this. I'm starting this for the rest of my life. With the information I have right now, I will be on GLP-1 medication the rest of my life. And this Washington Post article references that about how one would go on GLP-1 medication like one would for cholesterol medication, like a statin, or high blood pressure medication for the rest of your life, is what the intention behind all of these are, and what a backlog these shortages are creating for patients of making us go off of these drugs, and how not helpful that is. So yesterday, if you guys saw the Senate hearing in the US, for our international folks, about why the US patients with Novo Nordisk, the manufacturer of WEGOVY and Ozempic, are paying substantially higher. So why is Ozempic priced at $969 a month in the US, but Canada is paying only $155 and $59 in Germany? Someone in my group, in my free encouragement group, which I'll link down below, had referenced how, how for Taylor Swift, people from the US were going to Europe because the European tickets were substantially cheaper for the Taylor Swift concert. And someone had made the analogy of, could you do that? Could you get a prescription over in like Germany, for example, for $59 and go fly over there and then fly back with your medication? Be cheaper than that? I'm sure that's not legal. I'm sure, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but someone had prefaced that, and I was like, that is kind of like the Taylor Swift analogy of the concerts of it, of like, why are they paying that much less? Stay till the end. I'm going to come back to this about it, but a study by Yale University researchers published in March estimated the production cost of 1 month supply of Ozempic is 89 cents to $4.73. Now, you guys know I'm going to come back to this price point issue because I want to hit on Eli Lilly. And I want to hit on the price for research for these medications. We're going to come back to that because I think that's an important part of this conversation. We can't just throw stones about the cost, but the frustration level as a patient, and if you're watching this video, you probably has been very frustrated too of getting the medication. Y'all, it's like a game. They had referenced someone they had quoted, it's like a game of cat and mouse. It truly is. And for our friends who are on compounds, semaglutide and tirzepatide from a reputable compound pharmacy, I am obsessed with Join Fridays. They're my telehealth company who also prescribes brand names and compounds. I'll link all my information down below. But it's made such a major difference for people being able to have compounds that are cost effective and available, because compounds get shipped to your house, typically speaking. So I'm going to take a quick pause because yesterday, and I want to then talk about patients giving up. And this is a very important piece of this conversation. But first, yesterday I went to Pilates, one of my non-scale victories. I'm going to have my element electrolytes. I went to Pilates. I've been doing Pilates classes, which is 1.0, from just starting from being morbidly obese, my non-scale victory. And I've been doing Pilates, like swinging my legs around my head on one of those reformers. And after I started a 1.5 Pilates class, which means I increased to the next level. And afterwards, I had to rush home. It was a night class, and I did not get to have my element electrolytes. I highly encourage element electrolytes. They're my favorite. I have them daily, 1 stick. They do also have, by the way, they're awesome. As I'm knocking everything over on set, they're awesome sparkling electrolytes too. I love these. I love truth be told, the cans are my favorite. I love the cans so much. But the sticks are so helpful in terms of muscle recovery because of the magnesium, potassium, and sodium. If you are working out, these are exceptional. I didn't have mine last night after my workout, and I feel it this morning. So I was like, I'm literally stopping mid-show to have my electrolytes. I'm bougie, and I like to mix it in a carafe. And I got a new 40-ounce tumbler. We've got to keep our water fun and fabulous, and Element does that for me. But also because of the side effects too, and that's one of the things that this article talks about, is people having side effects on GLP-1 medications. And for me, LMNT electrolytes has helped so much. If I've been constipated because of the magnesium, potassium, and sodium, helps with that. Diarrhea, where I've had pockets of where I've, it's gross, but been expelling a bunch, it's helped with that. And so LMNT electrolytes has made such a big difference for side effects. If you're just starting, I highly recommend, obviously before starting any sort of supplement, talk to your doctor, but these sticks are so handy for travel. The last 21 months of my life traveling has been as part of my job. So easy with the electrolytes. LMNT also has been very generous to the Countess of shopping community to give us 8 free sticks with any purchase. You can go to the description down below for the hyperlink, but it's drinklmnt.com/queen, QUEEN. It has on there too, oh my gosh, raspberry salt's my favorite. The Duke is obsessed with watermelon. My 9-year-old, he plays soccer, and if he doesn't have them, he gets horrible leg cramps. Guess what he doesn't get when he has LMNT electrolytes? Doesn't get leg cramps. It makes such a big difference. And so for me on this health and wellness journey, and I want to encourage you, if you're doing more physical stuff, LMNT electrolytes, if you're just starting, LMNT electrolytes, it's made a big difference for me. So highly recommend. So it's talking in here also about the confusion of, going back to the Washington Post article, about the confusion of people just get frustrated of like, I don't want to keep doing this. And so for me, it's like, I have to be on this medication. It'd be like if for someone with blood pressure or high cholesterol and being like, you're going to need to go chase all around a 30-mile radius from your home with all the pharmacies calling them to see if you can get your prescription. Now, many of you in my free encouragement group have said it's eased up for you, excuse me, but many of you have said it's not. And we talked in our previous video about access potentially from a hospital. Pharmacy is a good place to go. Mom and pop shops are a great place to go. I get mine at Walmart. I have found in my area, I live in rural Virginia, that Walmart has been by far the best of keeping it in stock. I did not have great success at CVS, and I won't even mention Walgreens, but a lot of you have had great success with CVS. That has not been the case for me, but maybe for you it has been. But it's going back about the intention for this whole drug, and that's why this is so chaotic, is walking into what my original intention was 21 months ago is I'm going to be on this for the rest of my life, and not really knowing I was one of the guinea pigs starting Mounjaro. People told me you're going to have 5 heads, and those same people are now on the medication. I'm like, who was right? Who was right? But drug makers are marketing medication to be taken regularly for life, akin to cholesterol-lowering statin drugs or blood pressure pills. But recent analysis shows a large number of people are not taking the drugs long-term. Per the report in May 2024 from Blue Cross Blue Shield Association, they're going through and found that more than 30% of patients tracked under the health plan dropped out of the treatment after the first 4 weeks. If you are just starting your medication, and it's in your start, I want you just to think about the shortage and to side effects. And I had thought that most people had dropped out because of side effects, but really what the data is showing is these shortages, even for beginning doses, are plaguing people so much. It's a pain in the stinkeroonie to do all this. And so going back over, there was a Prime Therapeutics Magellan RX Management, a pharmacy benefits manager, reported last year that claims show that data showed 32% of people taking GLP-1 drugs for weight loss were on them a year later. Only 32%. A follow-up study first reported by Reuters in July 2024 found that the number dropped further after 2 years to about 15%. So I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary. When I started, there's only 15% of people still from the study that they're saying from Prime Therapeutics and Magellan RX Management, a pharmacy benefits manager. That 15% later, people are, that blows my mind. That blows my mind, but I can see why, of the shortage and the cost. The cost, I mean, it's insane is what, I mean, this is truly insane. But if you do, I always pump back to, and I always have to make sure I include this in here, I'm so grateful for these medications. It's easy to complain and whine and all of these things, but we do live in the greatest time to be alive, and that we are very blessed. I mean, I literally tried everything to lose weight. and could not keep it off. I mean, 20 months later, and not only have I kept it off, I continue to lose. And with my Pilates class, stay tuned, friends. I'm grappling to get to that 100-pound weight loss, fighting so hard. So make sure you click like and subscribe. You're not going to want to miss this journey. But the low adherence rates raise questions about the effectiveness of treatments. Doctors typically recommend at least 12 weeks of therapy to see benefits. And unequal access. The Blue Cross data showed that the lowest sustained use was among patients who were most likely to face barriers of cost, transportation, and language. Right now, a lot of people who are able to be on the medications are privileged people who can afford them or have insurance for them. There's not enough emphasis on equity, said Melanie J., the co-director of NYU Langone Comprehensive Program on Obesity. Truth, which is why I go back to focusing in on gratitude of if we're on this medication, truly we are privileged, truly, and recognizing, yes, these things are hard, and yes, continuing this is hard, and yes, playing cat and mouse, I still have to go get my prescription. I just got a text message. I need to go pick it up. Driving a half an hour there and driving a half an hour home and coordinating all this is a pain in the patootie. But the life that I have today as a result of being able to ride a horse, to ride a roller coaster, to do all these things I hadn't done in decades, and prematurely putting myself in an early 6 feet under, I mean, I don't have that fear now. In fact, my fear is I don't have enough money for me living the length that I'm going to live now. I thought I was going to die young, and now I'm not. I'm like, oh my gosh, we've revamped completely our retirement plan as a result of GLP-1 medication. You feel me? Okay, so going back over to this article, it talks about people with the holidays coming up. And so people titrating down during the holidays to enjoy the holidays. And it talks about the UNC Health Weight Management Clinic in North Carolina. It says changing medication schedules usually come up when patients reach their targets with a healthy weight or diabetes in remission or blood pressure in a normal range. She does not recommend stopping or titrating down. It's changing the medication schedule. As a result, so that's basically what that means. What I'm interpreting that as is we take our shots once a week. And so maybe taking our shots every 10 days or every 14 days, potentially is what I'm interpreting that as. As a result, only a small minority of our patients have gone off the drugs, and most within a year and a half have regained the weight that they've lost, and all other health issues have returned. And so it makes no sense to get on these drugs if the point is to stop, is what this person is saying. That is quite a controversial thing, because I know so many people in my free encouragement group who have stopped and who have had success, but they are in a very small, the 30% pocket, 70% typically do regain, which I've done and cited my source in other videos referencing that study done. So it goes through, researchers have been mobilizing to study intermittent use of the drug, 1 month using the drug as indicated, 1 month without medication. And many of you have referenced for me because you say, Elizabeth, you said you've been down 91 pounds, 92 pounds, 93 pounds, but 93 pounds over and over and over, and you're not losing weight, which please don't say that. Please do not say that to me. That is not encouraging actually at all. I know you may be curious as to why I've been having a weight stall. It's a number of factors. Please don't say that to me. Literally makes me upset. Like, please don't. I am doing the very best I can, and I am fighting so hard to get this last pocket of weight, but that's a tremendous amount of weight to lose. And so I recognize that I'm at a weight stall. I've made no hiding of that. Like, it's true. I don't need you to point it out for me. That is still somewhat of being honest, a sensitive topic for me. And so what I want to say is which we've talked about around the 60-week mark, taking GLP-1 medications, appetite suppression changes, and food chatter in your brain changes. It's a study that I did in go look at my previous videos talking about that. And so them studying, meaning this was from University of Washington. So it was David E. Cummings is a professor of medicine who's referencing this study that's happening of what happens, because people have said to me, why don't you just get off the medication for a month or two and then come back on and then you can For me, I cannot get off this medication. I cannot. Like, that for me is not a choice. I went 11 days without having medication, and it was a train wreck. My husband and I have in-depth, and I trust my husband greatly. I would regain all the weight back. All of the major health problems, my blood work. Oh my gosh, my blood work is so good now. My blood work would be a train wreck. Like, I just know for me, and you do you, but that's for me. So when people say, oh, you should get off, they're researching that now. But the studies are indicating, and I get it because you're at the highest dose, which we've talked about, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, at the highest dose, and I am having results. I haven't gained the weight back. I'm learning new skills and techniques and tools with food and with physical activity to combat this weight stall. Anyways, many of you have not had that though. Many of you have, you've gotten to your weight loss goals, or you've lost so much weight so quickly, you're a hyper responder. You've lost too much weight and you're worried about that, which I wish I was you. But I'm not. I'm me, and I'm grateful for being me. But going back over here, it says 2 years of continuous use of the drugs would pay for gastric bypass surgery. I told you wanted to state at this point, because other people have been saying, oh, I'll get gastric bypass during these shortages. Oh my gosh, these electrolytes are so good. My mouth is literally salivating for it. I'm like, I want my LMNT. It's really, my mouth is salivating. The cost of a patient or medical system for 2 years of continuous use of the drugs would pay for gastric surgery, which is permanent. With up to 1/3 of Americans suffering from obesity, he said it's unclear how healthcare system could bear such costs. The financial consequences are staggering. A key study in securing FDA approval for WEGOVY, a lifetime medication for weight loss drugs, found that about a year and 4 months and then stopping. It found that about 2/3 regained the weight. See, I told you that was the study. Similarly designed compared with comparable results for Tirzepatide, Zepbound, and Mounjaro. Shorter off and on intervals were not studied. It does raise a question, can we gain some mileage on short holidays? It'd probably be years for such studies to be completed, and many patients will continue to be stuck hunting for medications on occasion. Talking about maintenance, and it goes through and talks about maintenance, which we don't have full studies yet on maintenance. That hasn't been, but it is current. I'm pretty sure it's currently being studied too, about once you hit your weight goal, then what happens, which we've discussed here. It goes back to what that initial person had said of potentially stretching out instead of every week, every 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever. So it's going over and it's talking in here about the DC area, which I was like, oh my gosh, it's like you read my mind. There was a patient, his name's Brian Castrica. If you're in the audience, I don't know. It's a 50-year-old from Rockville, Maryland, has type 2 diabetes, suffered a heart attack amid challenges of controlling his blood sugar. He tried Ozempic, but it made him extremely nauseous, and the doctors prescribed Trulicity, which was out of stock. So he moved over to Mounjaro. It worked well the week he was on it, but then he was unable to find the prescription earlier in the year. He sought help with an endocrinologist who has a concierge practice that takes fewer patients, allowing more attention in the DC area, which I'm in rural Virginia, but I used to live in the DC area, like right near it. The search was a success, and 3-month supply about an hour away. He immediately took off work and drove to go get it. You have to find what's left on the market. So this is fascinating to me. One of the things we talked about was cost yesterday with the whole Senate hearing, and I'm not trying to get into a political debate, so don't even put it in the comments. I'll hide the I will hide the comment. I'm not trying to talk about politics, but yesterday it's important to note the cost prices of Novo Nordisk, the manufacturer of WEGOVY and Ozempic, was grilled in a Senate hearing about the prices of why Americans are paying so much for our medication. You know what I found interesting? You know I love Eli Lilly. I mean, my heart goes pitter patter for Eli Lilly because they created Zepbound and Mounjaro. Why were they not grilled? I found it fascinating that a foreign company that they put WEGOVY and Ozempic from Novo Nordisk on this like grilling. Not a peep was mentioned about Eli Lilly in the Senate hearing in terms of grilling them, the questions. Now, I didn't hear if they mentioned Eli. I don't know. I don't know that part. If their name was mentioned. But why were they not being grilled too? Their price points are just the same as WEGOVY and Ozempic. Ozempic is type 2 diabetes approved as what Mounjaro is with Eli Lilly. And then WEGOVY is their GLP-1s, so it's got one hormone, and then Mounjaro and Zepbound are GLP-1s and GIP-1s, so it has an extra hormone. But Zepbound is akin, FDA approval for chronic obesity management. So both are akin to each other, slightly different data on them. I found it fascinating. That was one of my biggest takeaways from the Senate hearing yesterday. Was like, why is Eli Lilly not on there? Because they're US based, I'm assuming. I don't. Someone smarter than me enlighten me in the comments as to why was Eli Lilly not grilled in yesterday's Senate hearings. That was my biggest takeaway and question. Why were they not grilled? My shirt, I'm going to link down below. This shirt is fabulous, by the way. I bought it. I wasn't gifted it. Ooh, I'm like showing my, but isn't it so cute with the little buttons and my waist? I'm like, she's got a cute waist. Now my bow's all messed up, but I like this shirt quite a bit. And it's got puffy sleeves. The gentlemen watching are like, I don't care about your fashions. And if you're interested in getting that discount from Element Electrolytes, it's linked in the description link below. Excuse me, it's not the discount code. It's actually the website to get 8 free sticks of Element Electrolytes with any purchase. Drink element.com/queen. Get 8 free sticks. Highly recommend. Their stuff is awesome. It makes such a big difference at the beginning with my side effects and through the middle of my journey, and now it's for workouts. It's made such a big difference. It's so good. It's so good. I literally was salivating. I'm like, I just want my Element this morning. Sweet friends, I'll link everything that I mentioned down below in the description. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shop, and count my blessings because life is delicious. Love y'all. See you tomorrow. Bye, guys.